Yo, what is going on YouTube? This your boy Kamen Rider Zero Spike back again once again. And today we're here for Ohsama Sentai King-Ohger episode 4, excuse me. In this episode we get the debut of our Black Ranger for this season. And yeah, he's kind of a two-timer. We kind of knew this from his actual, character description before the series actually came out. And we see that he is kind of like, I wouldn't say kind of like a manipulator, and also that type of person to where he will do anything to protect his people, even get his own hands dirty in the process. And let me tell y'all something. The Bug-Narok are like a second, like an afterthought. As these episodes have been going, we have been more focused on establishing the different rangers and also establishing the different kingdoms and other characters. Right now, in my opinion, like the Bug-Narok are just like this afterthought, because yeah, we know that these guys are kind of the main villain that we're all supposed to be going up against, and we're all supposed to be taking out, and they're supposed to be like just this evil kingdom of bug creatures that do have this power and want to take the earth's treasures from us. But at the same time, we don't give a duck about them, because they are kind of getting pushed to the side. I mean, yeah, they're like right now, they're like, okay, they're just like a nuisance at this time. They're pests, as they called them in this episode too. And they're just like, I mean, I know they're going to be important. They're good. I mean, they are important. They are. But right now, they're just sort of like an afterthought, and kind of like the only excuse to like show off like the new shoe gods, or like the new Zords and new accessories to Zords, because we got a new accessory to these Zords. We got basically a cannon slash sniper accessory to this the full Megazord, which is King-Ohger. But yeah, like that's how I feel about the Bug-Narok right now. You guys let me know how you guys feel about them, because they're just like an afterthought. They're like, they getting brushed to the side right now, and very much disrespected, especially since Dark Narok seems like he's just, I don't think that, I mean, personally, I don't think this guy's like the main villain anyway, but but in this episode we basically see that these guys end up getting attacked. From last episode, we see that they end up getting attacked by this big black rhinoceros beetle, and his name is, we call him Kabutan. We see that Kabutan is actually one of the greater guardian spirits, who were basically, essentially, either they left humanity because they hated us and they kind of went dormant. We see that Regulus actually took Kabutan and kind of asked Yanma to kind of like upgrade it or whatever like that, or try to get it to talk to him or stuff like that, because Regulus had Kabutan just like he had Kabuwada or Kiowada. He had him just like, they were both like in this dormant looking state or whatever. And we see that Kabutan kind of like hates humans or hates people, right? So we see that Katsugari, which is our Black Ranger, he is inside of he basically is inside of Kabutan, and they think it's Regulus. They think it's Regulus who is is actually inside of Kabutan, because we know that Yanma is the one who Yanma was the last person to see Regulus with Kabutan, and he thinks Regulus is inside of it, coming after Gira, but turns out it's actually not. It's actually Kurogiri, and they end up getting attacked. He ends up beating up Kirawada, and they end up crash landing into his kingdom, which is called Tofu, or something like Tofu. And in this kingdom is also another very beautiful kingdom full of beautiful countrysides and farmland and things like that. And we find out that his kingdom, makes a lot of good food. They do a lot of farming and all that stuff like that, do a lot of agriculture and stuff like that. And that's basically what his kingdom what his kingdom does. And we see that Yanma and Yellow, these names, bro, these names. We see that Yanma and Yellow there, basically they have were able to find each other. They're basically grandsoning with each other. We see that even her, yeah, Kinowo and her butler also there. They end up looking for Gira. And we say that Yama does explain to her what exactly Kabuton actually was, and that's when we get the flashback of seeing Regulus with Kabuton. She actually wants Kabuton. We said, like I said before, he explains what Kabuton is, and he's one of the greater guardian spirits. He's actually pretty huge too. He's actually just about as big as Kirawada. But yeah, so they actually go up to go find Gira, and we see that Gira ends up coming, and he gets to end up separating from them, and he ends up coming in contact with Kurogiri, who Kurogiri is very much, happy to see him, very welcoming and things like that, brings him to, the main city and lets him see everything. Everybody's all, it's a big festival. And, just like my boy Tato used to say, it's a festival, big festival. They're, welcoming Gira, and he's calling Gira a savior and all this other stuff, just trying to butter him up. But Gira is really not falling for it, and that's one thing I kind of do like about Gira, is that Gira really isn't falling for it to a degree. We see that Gira is still putting on that whole evil tyrant king type of shtick he's got going on, and we see that he's not he's still being kind of suspicious, but he's not completely falling for this facade that Kurogiri is putting up to, basically showing him. We see that they all do kind of end up meeting up back with each other again. We see that he does let Gira taste like the food and things like that. Gira's like, wait a minute, it's covered in dirt and it's been eaten by bugs, and he still tastes it anyway, and he says it's really freaking good. He starts eating a bunch there, and that's when they all end up meeting up with each other. They all end up eating his they all ended up eating a bunch of this good food and stuff that he is actually giving to them, and they're all like arguing about how good the food is, and they're not listening to anything he's trying to say. Then he ends up it's very Japanese. It's like old, like feudal Japan, like type Japanese type of style, which is pretty cool to me. And he ends up telling them that getting them to help him by, with the shoe guys and with Regulus and things like that. They agreed to help him, and they basically made like this off-screen plan, but we'll get to that in a second. So we end up seeing Regulus is talking with Kurogiri, and we see that Regulus is the one who gave Kabuton to Kurogiri in order for him to capture Gira and bring Gira to Regulus. And we did see that our purple butterfly ranger, she's there in Shugadan, which is Regulus's kingdom, and she's doing a bunch of research and stuff like that in the central hall, looking up things, and we don't know what she's doing, but we see that she has been she's technically been everywhere, and she's been sort of like following them around. She's been in every kingdom so far, following them around without any of them noticing her. But she's gonna come into play later in this episode as well. We did see that a few of the Bugnarok are actually attacking his kingdom, and we see that he goes off to basically battle them, and he tells Gira to let him handle it on his own. So that's when Gira ends up taking a back seat to that. That's when he does end up finding the other two. But before that, we see that the other two transform up, and they start fighting a bunch of the Bugnarok that are attacking the city. And that's when Darknarok and his homeboy Darknarok and his little advisor dude, they basically say that, hey, hand over Kabuton. They want Kabuton to hand over the treasures. And that's when that's when Kodogiri is like, okay, I'll hand them over to you. I swear I'll hand them over to you, but it's gonna be kind of difficult. And Dark Rock and his boy are like, hey man, we ain't really up for negotiations. We see that they do have a big monster, but he is basically like a giant sniper who's like destroying a lot of the stuff in the city. And that's when Kodogiri tells them that, all right, tomorrow at noon, I will give you I will give you Kabuton, I will give you the treasures. And that's when, the Bugs are like, all right, cool, but if you don't, we're gonna destroy your freaking kingdom. So that's when Yanuma tells Kodogiri, he's like, hey man, you really think Regulus is gonna go for that? And that's when Kodogiri leaves in silence, because Kodogiri got his own little thing going on in his head. We see that throughout the episode that he is sort of like manipulating everybody to his side or whatever. And that's when we get to the point where he's talking to Regulus, and he tells Regulus is kind of peed off with him, talking about, oh yeah, he said, hey, you promised, you told me you had a plan, you told me you was gonna do this and do this, right? And then Kodogiri is like, nah man, it's all good, man, just let me do this, man. I ain't trying to betray you, nothing like that, man. I'm good for it, you gonna have him, man. You gonna have Gira and stuff like that. So we see that Regulus has kind of come back into good graces with other people in the kingdom. We see that everybody's kind of like, they're back, and he's back in good graces with everybody, except for the two kids that are, partnering up with Gira and stuff. So we see that, Regulus is still on his manipulation tip, So that's when we get to when these it's the next day, and that's when Kodogiri goes and speaks with the Bugnarock, and he tells them that, he's like, all right, then go ahead and give us the treasure. And that's when Kodogiri calls one of his servants in, and then his servant ends up giving Dark Rock a tomato, and he's like, yeah man, he said, that's my treasure right there. And that's when Dark Rock is like, forget this, and he throws a freaking tomato and hits one of the grunts in the face with it, and then he actually sends a bunch of the grunts off to fight Kodogiri. Then that's when we end up seeing Kodogiri end up transforming into his ranger form, and he does, and it's so Japanese, it really is, and I'm here for it. I really like him because he does a bunch, like, you have the classic sound effects, the stuff like that. He does like a stomp, he henshins up, and he's a bee, right? He's a bee or a wasp, it's something like that, because he's all black. He's Black Ranger, but he still has like the black and orange. So I'm thinking, yeah, he has to be a bee or a wasp. But yeah, other than that, he ends up transforming. He does like a stomp, to where like as soon as he hits it, he does like a stomp. He stomps and it blows up a bunch of the grunts, which was actually pretty cool. And that's when he destroys a bunch of them. And after that, we don't see like the other two Bugnarock dudes there anymore, like the leader dudes. We don't even see them no more. And that's what I meant by when I said that they feel like an afterthought. Like the Bugnarock really do feel like an afterthought right now. And he ends up defeating them, and that's when the rest of the team, they ended up teaming up. They ended up having, doing the secret plan they ended up coming up with, which was fighting this they ended up fighting the big sniper one. But while they're fighting him, they end up getting attacked by Kabuton, which they think that Regulus is inside of Kabuton, because the last person to be seen with Kabuton is Regulus. That's what Yama thinks, but Gira figures out that it's not Regulus, it's actually Kodogiri, who has been using Kabuton this entire time. And that's when Gira basically tells him like some words like, if you keep following Regulus, he's just going to use you, manipulate you, he's going to throw you aside, you're a puppet, and you say you want to protect your people, but a puppet can't protect anybody, stuff like that. And we see that Kodogiri is like, yes, your words have struck in me, I will join you, and stuff like that. We see that Regulus is like, not Regulus, Gira is like, go ahead, yeah, you will join my crew and stuff like that. You're gonna join me, and Kabuton, you're gonna join me too. And then that's when Kiwata grabs Kabuton and hugs him, and then that's when Kabuton hugs him too. And then that's when the seal on Kabuton actually breaks. The seal with his little the little diamond that has him inside of it, it transforms from like purple to an amber bright color, and that's when they end up forming King-Ohger. They end up forming King-Ohger, and we see that Kabutan as he unites with them, but he transforms into like a giant like sniper slash cannon, and he turns into that, and then they ended up one-shotting the giant bug sniper dude, one-shotting him, and that's basically it. This was a super short mech fight, super freaking short. Like, they one-shotted this dude. Like, he shot at them like 4 or 5 times, and it was like, bro, one shot, and they took him out. I mean, like, it even screams out sniper, because they're not even standing up when they shoot it. They're like on one knee, and they shoot the cannon. So it's like, yeah, sniper, one shot, it's over with. So after they ended up defeating the Bug Narok, we see that Kinoa, she wants to Kimino wants to wants to like kind of kill Kodogiri, but we see Gira's like, nah, like everyone survived, and he helped us in the end, so I don't think we should punish him so harshly, stuff like that. And then that's when Gira basically tells him like, oh, you're gonna join my crew and stuff like that, and he grabs him on they hold hands, they like handshake, and we see that Yanma, he figures out that, wait a minute, like this was all just like a plan to get Gira here to save everything, and also because during the fight he made sure that none of the farmland got hit and stuff like that. So like, wait a minute, he planned all of this, and that's when Kodogiri is like, yeah, he's like, you truly are a savior or whatever. I beg for your forgiveness, but this is my home. My people are my life. Food is life, and I'll do anything to protect my people, even get my hands dirty with mud, stuff like that. And he grabs Gira and restrains him, and that's when the butterfly, our purple ranger, she comes in, and she basically gonna be like an enforcer. Basically, she's gonna take him back to her kingdom, which is basically she's gonna put him in prison there. She said you will face trial for your crimes and things like that. And yeah, she was basically working with Kodogiri to get Gira in a position where they can capture him. And now Gira is gonna be taken back to her kingdom, which is called Tokatan or Tokatan. So yeah, so the next episode we are going to get our final episode of us introducing all the Rangers and all of their kingdoms and things like that. And I'm wondering what's going to happen like next after that. Like, does the series like actually start after that? So most likely, I think in the next episode, they're truly going to basically become like an actual team. But yeah, this episode was actually pretty cool. I do like the introduction to Kodogiri. I like how he fights. I like his personality, and I did like how he was manipulating everybody on each side technically, and how it all came full circle in the end when he was actually able to protect his kingdom and also fulfill his promise that he was trying to give to he was basically giving to Regulus. And I think it also was like another good introduction and a kind of different introduction to our next ranger, the butterfly, because I never would have guessed that she would be some type of like enforcer or something like that. But with her demeanor, with her outfit, with the way she talks and everything, it makes a lot of sense. It does make a lot of sense though, where she would be this type of character. She is also very like super edgy. So I'm saying she right now because we don't really know. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter the gender of the character, because I really do like this character. But I'm saying she for right now until we maybe get like a definitive answer anyway. But after this, I'll just say they them until we get like a definitive thing. But either way, saying either word is fine for me. I like the character, I really do. But I mean, other than that, I like how we're showing like his kingdom was actually very beautiful. It felt a lot like Kimino's felt a lot like it felt kind of a lot like her kingdom, but but because in her kingdom everything was just really pretty and colorful and bright and stuff like that. His kingdom was also like that, but his kingdom more dealt on like the farm aspect and food aspect of everything, and basically a lot of the stuff that he does in his kingdom also goes to other kingdoms. Like like his kingdom like distributes, trades, stuff like that with food and things like that to other kingdoms, which is actually pretty cool. So I like how the kingdoms kind of like all work in tandem with each other. They trade stuff. You can go to them and stuff like that. So, but other than that, I did like this episode. He ended up becoming like one. He with the way he fights and his whole demeanor and stuff like that. I like how he manipulated the whole thing to come full circle. But other than that, you guys let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think about this episode of Ohsama Sentai King-Ohger. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and remember, as I always say, guys, stay henshined.